This is the remarkable story of a filmmaker's fascinating life in an untamed corner of Africa. A wild world, seen through his lens. Capturing the dramatic and sometimes tragic events that affected the magnificent wildlife of Kruger National Park. He is Jürgen Józefowicz.
My life in Kruger gave me the opportunity of realizing my dream of living with lions.
By 1998, Jürgen had produced 9 films about the wildlife of Kruger. Now, after several years, Jürgen and his wife Terina return for the first time to their old family home to retrace their footsteps and relive some of the most memorable experiences of their lives. For Jürgen, today is a very special day. He steps out from behind the camera and meets his favorite animal face to face at the lion breeding project of Chukudu, a private game reserve near the Kruger National Park.
This is great. I can get so close to the lions and touch them, even play with them. I would never do that with the wild lions of Kruger. If I tried, they would kill me.
Jürgen feels that these great cats personify the wilderness and its freedom. A shrinking wilderness now preserved only in unique, untamed parks such as Kruger. As soon as Jürgen and Terina step through the gates of the Kruger National Park, they'll be in a completely different world where life is wild, untamed, and unpredictable. Established more than 100 years ago, the Kruger National Park in the northeastern corner of South Africa is the country's largest and one of Africa's oldest game reserves, covering 2 million hectares, an area larger than Wales. Johan Olofse is one of 22 section rangers needed to control such a vast area. But today, he takes time out to welcome his friends back to the world-renowned wilderness that was once their home.
Good to see you again.
Good. Fantastic to see you, man. Look at this one.
Again,
That's
great.
nice to be back. Huh?
Welcome back to Kruger.
Yeah, I missed you. Huh? I really missed you.
It's going to be great to share the bush with you again.
Fantastic.
You'll find everything has changed, but nothing has changed.
Kruger's vast expanse includes numerous ecologically diverse areas of distinct characteristics, varying from dense riverine forest to woodland savannas. Each zone a preferred grazing or hunting ground for the thousands of animals of Kruger. During their 12 years in the park, Jürgen and Terina lived, filmed and photographed in most of these areas. The outcome, a unique collection of sequences depicting some of the most dramatic events in the lives of the animals of Kruger. Husband and wife grew to know the animals so well through their filming and photography that natural events touched their lives as much as they did the wildlife, the exhilaration of a birth or the sadness of a death, and the heart-wrenching despair of a natural disaster.
To film wild animals, you have to think like them. You have to know how they will react. But at the same time, you have to survive in their environment. When you're on your own, you have to become part of nature. Living in the bush is like entering another dimension. It doesn't matter who you are out there. Here, you are the weakest species. Easy meat.
Big lion.
Approaching wild animals is not for the faint-hearted, and only an experienced tracker should risk a close encounter with the king of beasts. Alone, armed only with his 16mm film camera, Jürgen spent years following the animals, a silent observer, never an intruder, recording nature as he saw it. Lions became Jürgen's favorite subjects. They epitomized a power and freedom in the wild which man has lost.
Kruger is lion country. For 8 years I followed one pride that hunted this area. These could be some of the cubs that I watched grow, but I don't think they remember me.
Jürgen thinks back to 1989, when he first met a very special male which he named Hanglip. At that time, Hanglip and his brother had just taken over the pride. For the next 8 years, Jürgen watched as Hanglip maintained his authority. This is an incredible achievement for a lion. Research shows that most lions rule a pride for no more than 4 years before being ousted by a younger, more powerful male. When Jürgen first met Hanglip and his pride, the family group was small, with only 2 males, 4 adult females, and a few cubs. Under his reign, the pride grew steadily throughout the dry cycle that gripped Kruger Park.
Hanglip was a fantastic male, confident of his power, and he accepted me. He allowed me to follow the pride when they went hunting, and I was fascinated by the strategies.
Lions set up their territories where hunting is best, but not all of Kruger offers an ideal habitat for them. In 1986, when Jürgen and Terina arrived in Kruger, they were based in the remote northern area of Pafuri. Here there were fewer lions, but the Levuvu River proved to hold other surprises, for Jürgen as a filmmaker, as well as Terina as a mother.
Being the wife of a wildlife filmmaker is a completely different life. From being your own person, one becomes a person that follows another person's dream. And it depends on whether you enjoy that or not. I really enjoyed being part of a dream. I enjoy being in the bush. I found that when the kids came, it became a little bit more difficult.
Sometimes I would take my son out filming with me. It was great. I loved having my family with me in the bush.
Life was good, but these were times of change, and a frightening shadow loomed overhead.
Animals is one thing. One can be scared of those. But people are different.
People with AK-47s hold a totally different threat.
In the late 1980s, this remote area of South Africa, bordering Zimbabwe and Mozambique, provided an ideal, unprotected entry for freedom fighters. They came at night, on foot.
The scariest part for me in the bush was when we were huddled around the fire at night and we knew they were out there. We heard gunfire, but there was nothing we could do. We were totally vulnerable.
Of course there were risks living with a family in this area. But if wildlife filmmakers only worked where political situations are perfect, they would never make films.
Now, 12 years later, the political situation has calmed, but life in the park continues as always. Some of the cycles are as predictable as the passing of the seasons, while others as unpredictable as a wild animal. Today, Jürgen instinctively applies all the lessons he learned while living in this untamed environment. He's confident that some things never change. To find the action, he looks for tracks in the sand by the river. In the wild, you can never let your guard down. Jürgen moves in close. 3 meters from the jaws. From experience, he judges that this would be a safe distance to film, close enough to get a good shot, but far enough not to be attacked.
The river is full now, but back in '88 it was a different story. The river had stopped flowing and the animals had to come down to drink at the last remaining puddles. Here I could film some exceptional behavior. There was danger everywhere. The animals had to come to the water. They had to take the risk. One in particular seemed to epitomize the struggle for life. I was amazed that the little antelope had survived the attack. The next day I was surprised to see it back again. It was desperate for water. After that, I never saw it again. It was most probably taken by lions.
The lions seemed to know the dangers and dug deeper into drinking holes already made by elephants. But others were still forced to go down to the drying river.
For some to survive, others had to die. There were so many crocodiles crowded in the small pool. The two large males got into a fight for dominance. It was like watching the clash of the titans, a battle to the death.
Jürgen watched in astonishment as the other crocodiles moved in without hesitation to eat the loser, proving that in nature, nothing goes to waste.